Sometimes, as a friend of mine says, the inner child and your muse are pretty much the same person. Let's explore that concept a little bit together and get started. Welcome back, everybody, to Writing to Heal. My name is Jenna O'Malley. I am your soul writer, and we're going to sit down and talk about how the soul is actually the muse, the inner child, all in one, and 5 ways to cope when life is getting really nasty along the way for us. So if you want to go ahead and check out all the wonderful things I do, there's a description box below. You can navigate over to my main channel where we are discussing the processes and the actual functionality of writing more so. Here we explore the spirituality and psychology behind writing as the Soul Bard Collective. I'm referencing somebody who's become a spiritual mentor, guide, teacher in my life, Tanya, today, and she's often known for calling the muse just the grown-up version of your inner child. And ever since I first heard her say these words, I've been always kind of tethered to them. And lately I've been really encouraged to go ahead and challenge my inner child and get them back to doing what we've loved to do since we were born. In my opinion, a creative person is born and then nurtured, not necessarily always made. All of us have the childlike innate ability and desire to create. It's whether or not someone actually bothers to help us nurture it. So we're going to look at 5 things we can do to nurture and parent ourselves a little bit through it today. Hello, Miranda. It's good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. We've got a couple of friends sitting in audience, so I hope you all are doing absolutely great. Number 1, let's do it from the most logical point, the physical body check. Okay, we're going to talk about 5 different body systems, use systems and bodies interchangeably here, not just talking about our fleshy meat sacks our souls exist in, if you get what I mean, beyond number 1, but that is number 1. So let's do a physical body check. If your muse, your inner child, is being a grump, and your muse is not cooperating with you, what's going on with your physical body? It's the easiest to fix. Are you hungry? Go get a snack. Have you been at your computer for more than 1 or 2 hours? Get up and do a dance. Are your muscles achy? Go take a hot bath. Check in with your physical body. Do I feel jittery? Do I feel blank? Is it a physical thing? Sometimes our physical body can distract our creative body, if that makes sense. I'm a former K-12 English teacher. Let's think about it in high school lunchroom comparisons, okay? Think about it, one sits at one table, one sits at the other, but when they cross paths, how do they interact? Are they friends? Are they frenemies? Or are they enemies? You really want them to be friends, right? So if we can get our creative body and our physical body sitting at the same lunchroom table and getting along, we might be okay. So what are some things you do in the lunchroom to make your physical body feel better? Again, you're probably up and moving around. Depending on the school you attended, there were probably stairs to get there, and you probably had to stand in line a little bit to get your lunch. You got some movement. Maybe you went to the bathroom. Before, after, during, for whatever reason. That's a physical need. In my opinion, we'll talk about socialization in another body or system here soon. But what are you doing to make sure that even the air quality around that you're physically breathing in? I'm saying this as an asthmatic. I'm adding this one in because allergy season is literally right across that window from where I'm sitting. And what can you do to help your body breathe better? Breathing is so important to everything we do. It goes into like somatic breath work, even a little bit. Are you tense on purpose and not realizing it? Are you shallow breathing and not realizing it? These are teeny tiny check-ins we can do that probably fuel our creative fire 10x what we give them credit for, but they're short-term fixes. chocolate and coffee and water and a walk can only do so much. And we know this if we do, for those of you who are listening in and you belong to the writing sprints community, I go frequent on my other channel. Number 2, this is your mental body or mental system check. Yes, it plays into the physical, because for some of us, we know if we're having a bad hair day, our day isn't all great. I have frizzy Irish hair today. Doesn't look like it, but it's driving me nuts. So I'm a little easily agitated with everything today. Could be the issue, right? So check in with your mental body. This is where I would reference watching somebody like Mel Robbins, or maybe doing an ASMR if you're into that, or binaural beats, just to kind of help you mentally check in and mentally take a breath. You see what I mean? You might be actually physically watching your breathing while you do those things, which might help to resync your mental breath, your mental pause, your mental a little bit, but you're still doing what you need to do. And it could be a short-term fix, but in my opinion, a lot of these 1 and 2 that are short-term fixes become long-term routines. I am guilty of sitting down in front of this very computer or this here tablet that sits right off next to me and lose myself in the world of the Myrna Emmels easily. My husband knows that there are some days on his work days off that if he doesn't get a hold of me before Neftiri and Ian do, he's not going to get much time with me, because mentally I've checked into that world. Some of us write really dark stuff. Do you need to mentally check out of that dark for a little bit? We bring a lot of light to the world, even though we write fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, romance. And even for those of us who do write the dark stuff, we 3,000 times do it with a sense of light for many of us and a sense of healing. So, are you stuck in a mental cycle that you need to break? It doesn't matter if you're the one who started the cycle. My parents and their parents started a ton of the cycles I'm trying to break, for example. My dad, bless him and rest him, was a cycle breaker. My dad was a recovered alcoholic. I never knew him to be that when I was growing up. Why? Because my mother said, if you want to be with me, at the time, she had my 3 oldest half brothers. We weren't raised half, but to give you all the indication, their dad is different from my dad. Their dad passed. My mom remarried. Keep it that way. But we were raised all as siblings by my father's insistence. He didn't believe in step and half and all that. You're my kids. That was part of his cycle breaking. Because his very own mother said, why would you want to marry a woman who already has another man's kids? Even though it was not my mother's fault that she was a widow. So I'm a daughter of cycle breakers. Many of us in my generation are. As much as we don't get along with our parents, as much as some of us have chosen not to partake in an active adult relationship through estrangement, we realize we're breaking cycles. Some of us because our parents, by example, did so or didn't. Okay? I know a lot of the teenagers I worked with in K-12 are products of what is wrongfully called, in my opinion, a broken home. Sometimes the parents separating is fixing the home, and they're actually friends after. I've seen it happen. My best friend from high school, her grandparents, they were amazing grandparents and parents, but they weren't married. They had divorced, restarted their own relationships with somebody else, but what mattered to them? Not their drama. They fixed that. So I think a lot of cycle breakers who are writers you're doing more than you give yourself credit for with the characters you create. And you're healing far many more people than you will ever give yourself credit for in that regard. And that goes right into 3, looking at the heart. Oh, the heart. Who here in the audience likes to pull on them thar heartstrings? Guilty as charged, Your Honor. Right? Some of you are kind of, sheepishly going, yeah, I threw a 5-year-old into the plot for the kid factor being cute. Not entirely lack of guilt here, but this is where we're starting to get into yourself and your relationships big time. We're going from how the relationships with others affect our mentality into what do we think about us and our craft inside. So many of you in the audience sitting there quiet and listening, I know you doubt yourself. The call out is with a lot of love. I see your imp. You see mine. They like to hang out with each other and play poker on Fridays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays with writing sprints, right? But you're looking here at how one level deeper on the onion. Is there something bothering me here that I just can't sit down and make myself create? Because it's in our natural state to want to create, especially if you're female or female presenting. That is a very feminine thing to be a creator, right? To want to make things. Notice how the words are a little different for men and women. Men build, women create. Same thing, slightly different energy. Which one do you want? Which one is in your heart? You can be a masculinized female in a good way. A woman who knows how to wield their masculine, don't mess with me. This has got to be this way. But there's also men who are very good at wielding their kindness, their creativity. So do you need a balance? Is there a lack of synchronicity in your balance there? Is your heart 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water? There's tarot cards about that for a reason, right? Ton of books about that are coming of age stories in the young adult realm that adults love to read for a reason. And yes, I think that is one of the reasons why most of the people reading young adults aren't in that age group. They're older. It's like you're trying to reset your heart into the alignment it needs to be. And that goes into our environmental. I loved building this. This physical space, it now no longer resonates. It's lady nerd. It's me. But the more I'm looking at it, I'm going, there's a purpose in there that's getting covered up by something. Somebody recently called me out, post one of my live streams of Jenna. They are front and center. But like your thumbnails sometimes on your YouTube videos, you are cluttering it up with stuff and hiding it. And I'm like, mind blown. Thank you for the gray matter on the wall. We didn't need that, but we did need that. So I'm even looking at how you organize and clean your digital spaces. Who's the writer here that, draft 1, version 2, late night, insert date? NaNoWriMo, draft 1, version 2, restart. NaNoWriMo, Camp NaNoWriMo. You see where I mean? It's just, are you even keeping synchronicities there? Are there tiny fixes that become routine changes again? Teeny tiny things that are just leaving you barely left or right of center from where you need to pull and channel and create from without hesitation is an environmental body check. Because I put this one all the way down here and not up with the physical, because in my opinion, the physical, the mental, the heart, if those 3 are out of sync, I'm going to assume your environment is out of sync. It could be the root cause, or it could be a symptom of one of the other 3. That's why I put it later, because it could also take more time. It's going to take me a while to rearrange this room the way I want. Do I have the time to do it right this moment? I'm in between books. I could. I just finished book 4 the other day. I'm about to go into book 5 literally when I'm done here with my live streams for the day. So what's wrong with my environmental body that A, I want to fix it now, and B, I'm no longer happy with it, and C, what can I do that is time and cost effective to make it comfortable for me to create it again, because it's starting to feel a little stale to me. It's not giving me the same spark that I once did. Is it just I need to change the camera, flip the desk around? This is one of those situations of where literally in Feng Shui and other Tai Chi systems, they'll be like, what one tiny change is going to fix your whole mindset? There's stories of people who literally it was, I just had to switch the bed 90 degrees in my bedroom and it solved all my issues with organization and layout. Is that the one tiny thing you need to change? Angela, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Thank you for stopping in, though. And then number 5, all of those things, kind of like a pyramid, build up into a spiritual body check. Now, I'm not really talking about religion here. I am a former Catholic, so I do understand and appreciate that religion and spirituality do sometimes, for some people, get along. I unfortunately am not one of those people. Notice I said former. I hold nothing against my friends whom are Christian, Muslim, insert your religion here. It works for you and that's a-okay so long as you're not using your religion to hurt somebody else. That's the one thing that was hammered in my head by a Catholic priest every Sunday for 8 years of my life. Your religion is your religion until you use it to hurt somebody else, then it becomes a weapon. And I'm like, mind you, this was a church in the inner city parts of Baltimore, so that's kind of why he felt that way for crime reasons. But that all aside, and if that is affecting you because you're going through a spiritual awakening or a life change that makes what you grew up with no longer fit, what do you need to do to check your spiritual body? It's perfectly okay if church is good for you. There's a lot of spirituality in church. I still like going to church with friends and family that will ask me to go. Why? Singing. Oh, there's so much spirituality in singing, in my opinion. You see what I mean? Is there, if church does it for you, go. If it doesn't, what is your equivalent to church, I guess? What is your equivalent to getting that feeling of my spirit is in check of where it needs to be? Is it the music I'm listening to? Music impacts our brains so much physically, mentally, spiritually. If you look into what our brains look like under a CAT scan or an MRI when we're listening to music, it lights up. That's why in education we are emphasized to play music of certain types while our students are testing or studying, because it does light up parts of the brain that doesn't always get the same amount of exercise, because music throws a ton at you all at once to process in a very short amount of time. It's a really good exercise for the brain, but what is it doing to the rest of you? We're looking at even, thank you, Devin. It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. All call indies open this week, by the way. If you are an indie person, I'll word it that way. All Call Indie is a services hub for anybody of the creative mindset who needs editors, marketers, you name it, Devin's got it. So with the spiritual body check, there's tons of tiny things you can do. For me, please let me go sit in the grass. There's something childlike about it. Going out, at least for me, there's something childlike about just going outside and sitting in the grass, or in the wintertime, laying back in the snow and just staring up at the sky. There's an innocence to it that I think we're enticed to forget when we grow up. As a child of the 90s, that was thrown down my knowledge path the whole time I was in school. I mean, literally, save the arts? Really? We're having to save our creative outlet? You're punishing us for being creative and imaginative. Really? And that has always stuck with me of what tiny things can I do to keep my spirit feeling creative. Sometimes it's going out and doing something I would have done as a kid. Sometimes it's not caring that my hair is not brushed when I go outside if it really doesn't need I have curly-ish hair. It doesn't look curly, but it's curly-ish. So, if you have highly knotted hair, does it really bug you? Does it feel good? Blah, blah, blah. What childlike thing makes you feel good? Go do that for a while. For me, it's watching anime, playing video games. I need that little unplug escape, and a lot of people in my generation probably feel that. I know for my mom, she said growing up, they played a ton of card games. The one thing she would love to play to unstress was card and board games. We played a ton of those growing up for that reason. If mom got super stressed, they came out because she could manage us if we were concentrating on one of those things and she was playing with us. And she could also process what was going through her brain too. If you're like me, a neat freak a little bit, does a little bit of cleaning need done? And I say neat freak with all the love because I know some of us who actually enjoy watching, the ASMR cleaning videos. Oh, those make me so happy. I don't know why, it just feeds an inner part of my little child self who likes stuff organized and well clean. You see what I mean? So, what tools, what things can you pull on to prepare your creative mindset? Remember, it's just your inner child all grown up. What can you do to parent your inner child into feeling better? You know you better than anybody else. And sometimes, is it really just the unwillingness to plant our butts in the chair and do the thing? Is it productive procrastination? Sometimes it is. And we need to be prepared to call ourselves out on that with all the love of a mother or a father in all the positive ways and how they should or might. So please, my friends, if you're out there repairing your inner child, do so with some tender love and care because both of you have been worth it from day one. Take care, bye.